difference a day makes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Freezing today.
It's 48 degrees.
48 degrees. Winter is on its way. Yeah, so those of you who live down south, down Florida, and places like that, we hate you.
Talked to a guy from South Carolina yesterday.
Yeah.
He was in the 70s, and
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Hung up on him.
Because we were like 52 yesterday, 52 or 54.
Yeah, right. We got 10 days of cold weather. I think winter's on its way.
No, I think this weekend's going to be
Nicer again.
like it's 70.
Yeah, good.
So we get to enjoy that.
All right, so here we go. Q&A. Kat Sheba says, "I've never seen French that look so beautiful." Well, thank you. Talking about that litter of merles that we had. This is J Lo. Is Blue Kahuna available for stud? No, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He's not been with us for a few years. But we do have a lot of other blue dogs who can do a great job, and dogs that carry other DNA besides blue.
Confirmation also.
Yes, but Kahuna was a nice dog, though, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he was a successful.
But the woman that liked the merles, we will be having more merles end of January probably.
Okay. Lee Bardo Sandoval says, "My dog is Big B, Little B, Little CO, Little CO. Is that still an Isabella?" Sorry, I didn't give you the whole thing. Little D, blue. Big B, Little B, one copy of testable. Little CO, one copy chocolate. Is that still an Isabella? No, it's not. That is...
Maker.
Yes, that is a lilac dog that carries testable and is one notch off being a new shade. So it's still a great DNA.
Isabella.
Well, it'd be a new shade if it was both composed and chocolate.
Well, it has to have two copies of both.
Well, it's
blue
only one.
And cocoa and testable.
It does. It's one notch off that. It's Little B, Big B. If it had been Little B, Little B, Little CO, it would have been a new shade. So you got a nice dog there. So the answer is, I mean, I don't know if this is a male or a female, but
we've got studs for you to breed against.
Goldfinger.
To make you
true
new shade Isabellas.
Yeah, Goldfinger. So Goldfinger's a nice, small, carries both first and chocolate. So he is a new shade. He's new shade. 2 copies of intensity. 10 points.
Holler at us.
Yes, so...
MyBreederSupply.com.
Avoiding puppy scams. Okay, someone's commenting on our video on the bestest and safest puppy welcoming system on the market. Kat's Sheba Inus says temperature only has to be set to 4 degrees. Correct. 4 degrees centigrade, which is 104 degrees Fahrenheit, and you can toggle between those two settings to see what display you'd like on our thermostat. And then she asked whether you had one for kids swimming painting pools. Yes, we can build any size you want, and so we can build one that's a hexagon shape to fit inside your swimming pool. It would be a custom order. It's a bit more expensive, but absolutely we can do that. And then what you can do if you want to go the paddling pool direction, is you can get some pool noodles and then take an ice pick, poke some holes around the edge, take some nylon zip ties and zip tie the pool noodle to the inside perimeter of the paddling pool, so you've got basically a shelf that the puppies can get underneath. So absolutely we can do that. Mum of Cracker says, Fishmox seems to be, we're talking about medications that you can get without a prescription. Specifically, amoxicillin is available as Fishmox to be used in aquariums, and is exactly the same thing. And she says it seems to be getting more difficult to buy, not even available on Amazon or Tractor Supply. I think that you can get it, if you can't find it there, I think you can get it in places like Chewy or Revival Vet, I think still offers it without a prescription.
Look at that tractor.
Yes. Sprayer, isn't it?
Goodness sakes.
G-Baby says, hey there, I don't have a heated whelping box yet. I'm using a heating pad for now until I get yours. My puppies are 2 weeks old. When can the puppies regulate their body temperature and take the heating pad away? I want to transfer into a bigger crate. Well, so, you've got to wait till the puppies are moving around pretty well on their own feet. And so, typically for us, that's 3 weeks before you transition to something bigger.
Well, I keep them on heat till they're like 6 weeks.
Yes, but she's just got a heating pad underneath.
Oh, okay.
So,
she said she ordered it. It's
no, she hasn't ordered it yet.
Oh, I thought she did.
No.
Oh, okay.
Mac Ram says, asking about our oxygen concentrator. What brand is it? I have to go look and see. Sounds crazy as it is. It is a Pacific Rim product, but I can tell you this: it's built extremely well. I've had the whole thing apart to look at it, look at the compressor, look at how it's cooled, nicely made, gets great oxygen concentration, and I've been running one continuously now for the last 2 weeks to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do. So it's a nice machine. So here's Amber Elazar says, hi, I'm having a difficult female. She won't allow us near her with the AR rod, even won't allow the vet to take a temperature. We tried Benadryl, we tried the muzzle. Simulation didn't take because she's so freaked out. We couldn't get the rod in enough. She was literally doing barrel rolls. The vet won't do it, says she's too difficult. Any other suggestions? Let's see what the replies say. Oh, well, there's an answer. Somebody said surgical. Well, that's a good answer. So, of course, if you do surgical, the dog's put to sleep, and that is it. I hadn't thought of that. And that's a very good answer. So there you go. That's why we want people to reply to this stuff. It's because they come up with sometimes rubbish, sometimes golden, and there's a golden answer right there. Surgical. There you go. So what else can you do? Well, I think that one thing that you can do is get this dog on your lap. And
you treated her like a little human for too long that she gets away with a lot.
Yeah. I'd get this dog on my lap and I'd glove up with some Vaseline and I'd start mucking around with the back end just without a rod, just kind of getting used to this. I think that you've got to get to that point. If you can't get to that point, you're not going to succeed in the other part. This is a question of teaching her that it's going to be okay and that she's not going to be hurt.
Or she might have got hurt the first round that they did it. She's
right.
like, no more.
Absolutely. So, yeah, you can take your time.
Be careful.
Yep. Norma Jean Diaz says, is it okay to let puppies feed from mum whenever they want, or should their feedings be controlled?
No, whenever they want.
That's right. Exactly.
We want fat little healthy puppies.
That's right.
They eat whenever they want.
Exactly right. And we want puppies with mum.
That's why you leave mama in the pen with them.
That's why you have a heated whelping box. Because it sets up the environment where mum's not overheated, she's not stepping up and stepping down. And the puppies, when they're not feeding, they're looking for the heat. That's underneath the pig rail, and they fall asleep, so they're under the pig rail 95% of the time in the safest place they can be, and mum's not having anxiety, and the puppies can feed when they want to. And
you have less aspirations.
That's what I was going to say.
Puppies that are with mama all the time.
And the reason for that is?
Separate them, they're away from mama, and she's really building up a lot of milk, and so they're really hungry when they finally get to her, and they nurse and all of a sudden a big gush of milk comes out.
That's right.
So if they're with her all the time, you're going to have less problems of aspiration.
Builds less pressure up on her boobs because they're not all, because she's being drained all the time. Puppies are under this assumption that they're finally going to get fed and they've got to get as much as they possibly can. And they're not in competition with one another. All kinds of reasons, and less anxiety for mum, much easier life for you. Absolutely. If you haven't looked at our heated whelping system, it is the best thing that we have ever produced.
You'll wonder how you ever lived without it.
You really will.
With the traveling incubator box too, and the heated whelping system, all that stuff. It's fantastic stuff for mamas and babies.
Jeanette Head, I love waiting about a week and a half and then binge watching all these videos. Oh, okay, well, good. Okay, good. We'll talk about premature puppies. Katie Shiba Inu says, is it slick face for other breeds as well? Yeah, if you have puppies that are born early, they're going to have slick faces. If they've got slick faces, you've got a fight on your hands. You need an oxygen concentrator, you need an incubator, you need feeding tubes, and you're probably going to need some antibiotics too. So if you're born with slick faces, get prepared for the battle. If you do the right stuff, you can end up winning this battle, but if you don't have the right stuff, you will lose. The best thing to do is not take puppies early.
Let mama tell you. Don't let a vet tell you when she's ready, or because they're going to be gone and won't be able to do it. Have plan A, plan B, plan C. Have 2 or 3 vets on hand.
Yeah, and
we'll take late night calls if you don't have a progesterone machine to tell you when your babies are.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah, we've got videos on this, and all the
Yeah.
things that you should be doing. Pay attention to it, because all the information there is correct in terms of what the signs are and what you need to be doing at each step to make sure that you don't take puppies early or late.
Right.
Jeff Morgan, my Merle has one pencil-sized razor size white dot on her eye. Is this okay, or something I should get linked to? Thank you beforehand. So it depends on what we're talking about here. I mentioned this in a previous Q&A. If this is just a pigment thing to do with the eye that has a different color on the iris, don't worry about it. It's completely normal, and it's actually somewhat sought after in Merles. If this is a white spot on the cornea that is some kind of an abrasion or something like that, that's a completely different story. And I have had a dog one time that had a growth on its eyeball, and it actually had hairs growing out of it, and it did have to have some surgery to get that fixed. It's a pretty rare thing for us, only one time out of I don't know how many puppies, but I have seen that, so that's a different thing. So there's a difference here between pigment versus a structural problem with the eyeball itself. If a puppy's ears, this is Alexander Gonzalez. If a puppy's ears are not sticking up by the time it's 6 weeks old, do you give them more time, or do you start to tape them up? And let's see what the reply says. I recommend taping them up at about 4 weeks, Jeff Morgan.
4 to 5 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what Jeff says is correct. So there's what is the downside?
I've heard some people say, oh, they'll come up. Well, if they're a big, heavy dog and they've got lots of hair on their ears.
And they've got long ears.
Lots of hair on their ears.
Yep.
Then, yeah, you could have a problem of ears not coming up.
And I've seen French bulldogs that have ears that look like this when they're a year old. It sucks.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't affect their ability, but it does affect the way they look, and certainly you could have fixed that. So you don't want these floppy ears, you want them standing up. Just like Tammy said, big fat puppies with big ears are a big candidate for this, and start...
Or when you have fluffies with big, thick hair,
with a lot of weight.
what you may have to do is shave the back of the ears to help those ears prop up properly.
Yep. So, can you start too early?
That's what we had to do with Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. We actually had to shave his ear a little bit, didn't we? He's got a coat like you wouldn't believe.
He's got like a quadruple coat. He's a full visual fluffy, and he has the thickest hair
woolly bear
I've ever seen.
Black, solid black, AA recessive, no brindle.
Yeah.
Bully.
You'd think he was a bear cub.
Yeah, you absolutely would. Yes. Okay, so back to the ear thing. Is there any downside to starting early?
No.
No. So when puppies are born, their ears will be sticking up. It's when they get bigger they flop down. If they're not coming up,
Now you're going to have trouble with other puppies trying to pull it off,
Yeah.
but you got to put
and
it
mum
back
too.
on.
Yeah, mum too. You'll be putting it on once, twice a day.
Yeah.
And Tammy's a favourite of hers is the Johnson & Johnson white Band-Aid tape, because it doesn't pull off the
Don't
hair.
buy that cheap one because it will not stick, will not stay.
Yeah, but yeah, get taping. And the big sign of this, by the way, is you have one or two puppies in a litter that have floppy ears. It's time to get started on it. DC4 Banger says Sables express some tan markings, but does not mean it's from their AT. Well, I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think it is from AT. I've never seen a dog that didn't have AT that had tan points. So I'm on a contrary opinion about that, but you can all chime in on that. Well, the same person says again, I want to touch on AYAT. Could be a fawn or sable. Having a copy of tan point doesn't make it a sable. A sable could be AYAY. Not in my book. So let's see what people say about this. Got some replies.
Yeah, you got the tan points showing in all the right places.
So typically what I see is a fawn dog that's AYAT, or a blue fawn dog that's AYAT, shows a degree of tan points with some colouring above the eyebrows, some colouring on the feet, maybe some colouring on the cheeks. And I've got a number of dogs over the years. I've got one right now, Winston, who's a classic example. It's a blue fawn, it's a blue sable, it is AYAT, no brindle.
Nice looking boy.
It's a very nice looking boy.
That's one of our studs.
So DC4 Banger Game, I'm back. I personally prefer the colour. Oh, we're talking about back here versus Colour My Frenchies app. Yeah, I mean, so I haven't used the Colour My Frenchies app much. I was not as happy with it as the back here, but I think they're both fine. So just, you know, try one, try the other, see what you like. He thinks that the calamari French is a little easy to use. I thought the other way, but again, you know, see what works. They're free. I was discussing with a friend that told me he has a pied dog with only one copy of pied. But how? Pied is recessive. So you got some more here.
It's a pied dog with
But
one
Irish
copy.
pied could be only one exception, huh? I don't know. I'm not. No, well, so here's the deal. To get a truly pied dog, you've got to have 2 copies because it is a recessive gene. However, a single copy of pied typically shows up as some white on the dog somewhere. A white chest, maybe a white foot,
White blaze.
maybe a white blaze. But so pied dogs, the difference between Frenchies anyway, Frenchies don't come in white. They come in cream, and different shades of that. And it can be pretty white if they've got double intensity, except for pied. Pied is always on a bright white background. If you see a dog that is completely white, it's probably an extreme pied, and there's probably a touch of colour somewhere.
Or platinum with double intensity.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the point here, isn't it? Is, you know, typically those dogs aren't white. I mean, a pied dog is white. White is drip slow.
And you'll know.
Yeah. But the answer to the question is an Irish pied. An Irish pied is a dog that has, am I right, it's a saddle, right?
Like a little saddle.
Yeah, it has a saddle of colour over its back.
They're so pretty.
And they're very pretty. We used to have one called Rumble, unfortunately not around anymore. But that, he was double S. He was 2 copies of pied. And then there's a thing called... He did. And then there's a thing called a double hooded pied. And that's a dog that has colour on both sides of its face with white down the middle. That's a double hooded pied. Okay, that was too long for me to work on right now. Somebody's, Susan Brocksmith's asking about hairless and pinkies. Well, we're going to work on that.
She could work on it for us.
Yes.
Because we don't know. Like I've said before, I always thought that was an albino, but I guess not. I don't know.
Well, okay, Gretchen Chabra says, I want to give a suggestion that goat's milk is not good for anyone because it doesn't have milk like cow milk immunity and brings an energy to a different level. Well, okay.
It's easier on the digestive
Yes.
system is why you choose goat's milk.
Yeah, if you...
A lot easier than on the digestive system.
Right, and we have never ever given cow's milk, and the reason we
No.
never give cow's milk is twofold. First off, supposedly it'll cause diarrhea, and I believe it.
Yeah.
And the second thing is you look at all the products out there, like Espalac and all those things, guess what? They are goat's milk. They're all goat's milk. So I don't like, I don't agree with your answer there, Greta, but other people could chime in on this. But to me, it's always goat's milk and never anything else.
Years ago, it's always been goat's milk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I know that if you give a cat straight cow's milk, they've got diarrhea. So.
My goodness, we're already at 19 minutes on this.
Oh, okay.
I think that's enough, isn't it?
Yep.
19 minutes of James and Tammy. How can you put up with it?
Check with me the end of November, and I can tell you who's pregnant and who's not pregnant.
Tammy can put up with 20 minutes of me at the most, right? That's it, isn't it? That's plenty. Yes. Okay. Say goodbye to them, Tammy.
Bye.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye. Watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.